Alright, what is going on YouTube? Today I am bringing you another tips video. This time it's going to be a tips video on a couple of ways to make your grind to get Luna's Howl a little bit easier. So Season 4 is about to come to an end on November 27th. So if you haven't picked up this bounty, pick it up, because even if you're not going to complete it in the next week, because the bounty won't be erased from your inventory when Black Armory hits. So make sure you pick it up. And I apologize for the audio quality in the previous video. I'm pretty new at making these videos. I'm trying a couple of different combinations and programs to get this to work right. And just for a little bit of background, this is the last game that I played to complete the bounty. So that's why there's no Luna's Howl gameplay in this video. But, because I don't have any that I like. So I was just using this as a little bit of perspective. But, anyway, so let's just get right into the tips. So tip 1 is a 3-part tip. So when you first pick up the bounty, or if you've hit a brick wall and trying to finish the bounty, you can look at this at 3 ways. So you can do this logically and do one step at a time. So, get your hand cannon kills first, followed up with the next step after that, and do everything sequentially, and then reach Fabled. So do the Fabled part last, which honestly is the hardest part. Or you can use your best loadout to grind to Fabled first, and then use whatever hand cannon or hand cannons you need to finish the other steps. Or you can do what I did, which was a hybrid mix of the two, where I used what I thought to be my best loadout that I was comfortable playing with and was actually good with playing at, to do both the steps and to do my best to reach Fabled. So what I really settled on was using a Trust as my secondary and my hand cannon, and then using a Dust Rock Blues as my primary, so I would have a shotgun, and then I switched between a Play of the Game and a Roar of the Bear, just kind of depending on how I was feeling and how I was playing and the maps and whatnot. But I used Roar of the Bear exclusively when I was doing solar kills because it's solar. Though you can get an OG Player of the Game out of your collections that is solar. It doesn't have random perks, but at least, it's solar if you like grenade launchers more. And again, I played this solo. So, solo queuing is hard, but if you want to do both things at once, you totally can. Or if you're the person that wants to break it down in halves, because Fabled is honestly the hardest part, because you have to win games, and winning games in competitive is not an easy thing, especially if you're solo queuing or you just don't have a team to run with. But whatever you choose to do, at the beginning, or if you're hitting a wall now, whenever you reevaluate wherever you're at, choose a way to do it that best suits your playstyle, the weapons you have, and the time you have too. I was able to sink a lot of time into this bounty recently, which is why I was able to complete it actually kind of quickly, more quickly than I thought. But a lot of people don't have a week or two to just sit and just straight grind this. So you're gonna have to figure out your play style and kind of figure out which way you want to look at it. But so honestly, I would try to get Fabled first. But if you're having a hard time winning games, I would do the bounty steps first. Which, with the season coming to an end, unless you already have a bunch of rank points, because you need 2100 to get Fabled, honestly, at this point, I would just try to get the bounty steps done first, because the steps are so easy compared to getting to Fabled. Because again, Fabled, you have to win games, and winning is a lot harder than just getting headshot kills or playing a couple of rumble matches or just getting kills with the hand cannon. And that leads into my second tip, which is knowledge is power. And what I mean by that is knowing the strengths and weaknesses of your loadout, knowing the maps, knowing your own skill set, so you know how to better approach each game to, one, not only win the game, so this is good for all competitive PvP, but also to complete the bounty and to complete all bounties, because each season is going to have new pinnacle weapons. So using that knowledge to better form yourself into a better competitive player, if that makes sense. So by knowing the strengths and weaknesses of your loadout, it means knowing so like if you have a hand cannon and a shotgun, that means you can't really challenge too many long sight lines, especially if the opposing player has a sniper rifle, pulse rifle, scout rifle, the like. Because with the damage fall off and the flinch you're giving the other player isn't much, so they have a big upper hand in that fight. And so conversely, if you're running a sniper rifle and say a pulse, you're very weak to someone rushing at you with a shotgun around a corner. Like, you might be able to pick them off if they're holding forward down the middle of the map, where there's no cover. But most of the time, if someone gets close to you with a shotgun and you don't have one, you're probably going to lose that fight. So you got to put yourself in a position where you can only get flanked by that player in like one or two ways, and you kind of are listening for that player to come. If you're looking down a sight line and no one is coming to you, you know that they're probably either A, flanking you, B, are dead, so you need to be looking for their spawns, or C, they're on top of you, killing you, and you held a sight line too long. So that ties into knowing the maps, because if you know the maps very well, you can generally know where people are spawning. So that means you also know the general routes that most players are taking. So you can then therefore put yourself in a spot where you have a better angle on seeing everyone on the map before they get there. So if you're having trouble winning games, that's kind of where you need to focus, is getting more map awareness, especially when it ties into your own skill set. Like, if you can't challenge long sight lines, stop going somewhere where someone can see you from across the map. And because if you can't challenge that, if you're either A, scared to challenge that, or you just can't hit your shots, you're going to be a detriment to your team if you just keep going to that spot and dying. Like, you have to make adjustments to your own gameplay, whether that's stop using a certain gun because you just can't play with it no matter how many times, how many games you use it, or you're just not good running a certain area. Just try to avoid that area, or flank somewhere else, or try to get a different angle on that spot from somewhere else, because there's no sense running to the same spot every single time and dying every single time, especially in Countdown. And you're going to get a ton of Countdown playing the competitive playlist. And for me, it's unfortunate because as a single player, it's such a setback when you're playing a team of 4, but you're just going to have to do it. So you're going to have to take a look at yourself and figure out if you don't have the right perks on your gun, if your loadout just isn't right for your play style, or if you just flat out just don't know the maps. Because if you don't know the maps, then you're going to struggle. You're not going to know where people are flanking. You're not going to know the spawns. You're just not going to know the good angles. And even if you don't have the best shot, if you know the angles and you know where to put yourself and you know how to play the objective, you're going to help out your team more, and you're going to win more games by that alone. Gun skill isn't everything. Map awareness and positioning is so important in any shooter, and especially in Destiny, where there's so many different guns and so many different ranges, where you can excel in your own little niche, even if nobody else can, because you have a certain gun with certain perks, and you just know where to be, and you just know how to play that spot. So if you know how to play something very good, look at yourself and why that works good, and just keep doing it and keep applying it to every map and game mode that you play. And I bet that you'll A, win more games, and B, you'll just play better, you'll feel better, you'll be less stressed out about it. So tip 3 is pretty simple in comparison to tip 2, and that's just be aggressive and going for wins. Control heavy, can always control 2 plots and control. Make the smart plays in Countdown. Don't just sit back. Don't just keep running down the middle of the map. Be aggressive in finding flanks and trying new things, because I guarantee that's going to work out more than just doing the same old thing over and over again as fast as possible. That's just going to equate to losses. So control the heavy, control the power positions of the map, find those nice little flanks, cheeky little flanks. Just be that guy, make smart plays, and if something doesn't work out and you keep doing it, try something else. You'll find out that you'll learn more, you'll grow as a player, you'll get better as a player if you don't do the same old thing every time, especially if it's not working out. You have to learn from your mistakes. And that's really the biggest piece of advice that I can give. Be aggressive and learn. Though also one more thing about not sitting back and count down. The one time it is good to sit back and count down is if you've set a charge. Please keep an eye on the charge. I don't know how many times people will set a charge and then just run away from it. Like, it's good to set up a position around the charge, but at least keep an eye on it, because even if you don't get kills and you end up dying, if you keep them from touching the charge, because it only takes them 10 seconds, I think, to defuse the charge. I might be wrong on that. Sorry. But, it doesn't take them too long to defuse the charge. So just keep an eye on it. And if you make them back up, it'll give you precious seconds to win the game. And at the end of the day, or win the round. And that's what matters. I hope this video was helpful to you in your grind to get Luna's Howl. And hopefully some of these tips will help you reach the pinnacle weapons in the next season, because of course there are going to be more. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.